I think, the best video on the internet, your interview with Yuri Bezmenov, which has just gone, I don't even know if you could calculate. I'm going to talk about, I know Call of Duty, I think, used it recently too, the big game. But can you tell me about that, why you sat down with him and how that came to be, and just a little bit about that? Because people love that interview. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that, or the unfunny thing about that, is that when I first recorded Yuri and recorded him on videotape, nobody was interested in it. And I thought, this is very disappointing. Because everybody was in those days, at the stage, oh, communism. Are you one of those guys that's concerned about communism? Come on, communism is gone. You know that. When the Berlin Wall is down or coming down, the communists are fools or foolish. Well, come on, you're one of those conspiracy theorists. So nobody was interested, But I had the recording, so I just stuck it away. And it wasn't until maybe 10, 15 years later, somebody asked me about it. I thought, oh, well, maybe somebody's interested. So I put it on tape, VHS tape, and I guess we sold a couple of thousand copies, which is nothing. And then it just lay there languishing all this time until about a year ago, all of a sudden it's going viral on the internet. I didn't know it. And now, as you say, it's becoming the theme of a major game. And Call of Duty.
The time bomb is ticking. With every second, the disaster is coming closer and closer. The danger is real.
And I guess it reached 5 or 7 million people on the first day they released the promotion for it. You look at the promotion, sure enough, there's excerpts of my video interviewing of Yuri Bezmenov on it. So it's encouraging, actually, to see this happen. And it reminds me of the old adage that, people have to, sometimes they have to suffer a little bit and hurt before they get serious about a topic.
Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets used the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it.
Reminds me of the joke about this city guy that visited a farmer friend, and they had the donkey out there, and the guy wanted to get the donkey to move into the barn, and so he picked up a big board and he just whacked the donkey, or I guess the mule, I've forgotten which it was. One of them is smart and one of them isn't. Let's just say the donkey. And the donkey staggered to its knees and then got up and went into the barn. And the city guy says, well, what did you do that for? And it hit that poor donkey over the head with that big board and almost killed him. And he said, well, yeah, but the donkey will do what you tell him to do. But first you have to get his attention. Well, I've often thought people are like that. If they're living in a very comfortable society, they got all these appliances and all these luxuries and all these freedoms, and you discover that somebody is planning to take all that away, and you read the strategy, you know what the playbook is, and you see it happening, but still people are enjoying life. Everything is still good. They don't want to hear this. Yeah, they think you're crazy. They don't want to hear it, first of all. And it sounds so bizarre that it's hard to convince them to even take the time to examine it. So now we come to the point where, all right, we're being hit over the head with a board right now. So I think that's partly what's happening, is that people are going, whoa, what was that? What's going on? Now they're taking a real serious interest in learning about why this is happening so they can figure out what to do about it.
I always say the truth is like a pillar. It's something that doesn't move. You have all the fake news, you have all the propaganda, the censorship, but the truth ages very well. And they always historically fight so hard against it. And you're seeing that with your videos where you said something that was profound at the time. And it's so real that even 50, 60 years later, 30 years later, it's still true, and perhaps still one of the best examples to explain what's going on. It's incredible. On that note, I wanted to ask you, did Call of Duty pay you for the interview, or did they just kind of take the clips?
Oh yeah, I got a nice little check. I forgot what it was. I mean, you can't buy a car with it, but it was going to be nice. Everybody said, "Hey, that's a big company, and they're going to make millions and millions of dollars off of that. You ought to ask for a lot of money." And I was thinking to myself, "Yeah, maybe I should." And I thought, I think I'll just be very modest because I wanted that thing out. To me, the biggest payoff is not the money. It's because millions of people are seeing it. You couldn't pay me enough. I mean, I would have given it. If they would have said, no, we can't pay you anything, I would have still given it to them. Now that I've got the contract signed, I'll tell them that. But yeah, that was the important thing to me.
That's incredible. When I saw it, because everything now is leftist, Marxist, communist, everything. It's in SpongeBob, it's in Nickelodeon. You can't find a single company that doesn't do that. So when I saw your Yuri interview in it, I was like, no way, I can't believe they use something that's going to lead people to learning about communism.
Yeah. They're going upstream for sure.
It's amazing.
In 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The result you can see. Most of the people who graduated in the 60s, dropouts or half-baked intellectuals, are now occupying the positions of power in the government, civil service, business, mass media, educational system. You are stuck with them. You cannot get rid of them. They are contaminated. They are programmed to think and react to certain stimuli in a certain pattern. You cannot change their mind, even if you expose them to authentic information, even if you prove that white is white and black is black. You still cannot change the basic perception and the logic of behavior. In other words, these people, the process of demoralization is complete and irreversible. To get rid society of these people, you need another 20 or 15 years to educate a new generation of patriotically minded and common sense people who would be acting in favor and in the interests of United States society.
And yet these people who've been programmed and, as you say, in place, and who are favorable to an opening with the Soviet concept, these are the very people who would be marked for extermination in this country?
Most of them, yes. Simply because the psychological shock when they will see in future what the beautiful society of equality and social justice means in practice, obviously they will revolt. They will be very unhappy, frustrated people. And the Marxist-Leninist regime does not tolerate these people. Obviously they will join the links of dissenters, dissidents. Unlike in present United States, there will be no place for dissent in future Marxist-Leninist America. Here you can get popular like Daniel Ellsberg and filthy rich like Jane Fonda for being dissident, for criticizing your Pentagon. In future, these people will be simply squashed like cockroaches. Nobody is going to pay them nothing for their beautiful, noble ideas of equality. This they don't understand, and it will be greatest shock for them, of course. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. So basically America is stuck with demoralization, and unless, even if you start right now, here, this minute, you start educating new generation of Americans, it will still take you 15 to 20 years to turn the tide of ideological perception of reality back to normalcy and patriotism. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, it doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast.
Pray to God, yeah. Pray to God, yeah. Bioweapon viruses filled in my environment. Socialism coming, I ain't talking about the firemen.